Okay, welcome. Yeah, it's a bit of a repeat of the presentation which I gave 2 weeks ago, because you all were not present, so I'm very happy that you're there. Also because after the feedback, what we had in the last session was so short, so quick, that I didn't really know how to move much on it. And it's great that you are here, and it's great that we have the time tomorrow to talk really about it. For me, the work was really about picking out one aspect of town planning, mobility, and I'm absolutely not a mobility planner. I really liked what Neha said, all these different types of mobility, and that's about my range of expertise in that. But it was, for me, felt it's the one which has the largest impact, which I feel driving around on a bike, in a car, walking in Oroville and the bioregion. So I picked that out, and it was really for me, and I'm not shying away to say, a kind of offering to see how can I bring together the image of the galaxy, its interpretation through the master plan right-of-ways, and land that in the context and see what really remains when I do that. How exciting does it become? It's something which I always wanted to do. I always felt like, hey, how does this image, which is not realistically implementable now, today, for many, many reasons, and I think it was never wished for to be a one-is-to-one model to be built. It's an ideation, it's a process. So for me, I always wanted to see how does that change when it comes into contact with the many aspects of life in this area. Yeah, maybe the next, Sophie. So there were a lot of basic assumptions which I put down for myself, not to offend anybody, but just for me, what's the framework? And also I did that work because for me it was unthinkable working on the crown and providing for the ideal version of the crown we all want, which is reduced traffic, e-mobility, non-polluting pedestrian. I still have to see what do I do with the traffic which is here and around us. How do I facilitate that to come as close as possible to providing the framework for that to happen. So in that sense, also the master plan, now soon to be reviewed, is something which is a process, as we are in a process. As an Orovillian, as Orovillians, as a community, we are in a process. We are not yet there where we shift tomorrow to community transport, to e-mobility, to cycles. We don't have it, we don't do it. So everything we do needs to be taken as a process. It needs to look at a time. And what I thought in the work that I do as a non-traffic planner, I pictured this could that be something which works in the range of the next 20 years, which again is the length of the next master plan. Sophie? So what I said, for now, motorized traffic and all will be part of our reality. And it's wished for that it gradually changes, and I'm willing to do my part. Also to mention what are key elements of any planning work. So we need to have the community being enabled by professionals to clearly define and formulate development priorities, bringing together vision and reality. We haven't ever done that. I think Suhasini started working on that quite a bit, but it's something which needs to be really anchored in the community and the enabling of the community to work on that. An up-to-date land use plan, again, something Suhasini worked in, which again is firmly rooted in the context based on community-agreed development priorities, as an anchor for any meaningful study on mobility or any other town planning area. A review and a required update of the existing master plan, zonal detailed development plans, which then falls hopefully under your purview, regular implementation plans. All of this should be prepared by professionals in active collaboration with the Oroville planners, architects, and the members of the RA, with the governing board, the secretary's office, the International Advisory Council, as consulting partners, advisors, and potential facilitators, especially when we are going into bioregional development work liaison with central and state government structures. Next, please. So for me, it's really a call, a strive for unity. How do we unblock ourselves? And how do we unblock that, and how do we find ways? And this presentation strive to do that, looking at mobility as an important aspect of our daily lives. And this is why we kind of clubbed together. That particular work was then setting the frame for what Henrik did, who presents after me, what Tejaswini and Duja are doing, and then what Dorle is doing. So we all felt it really can link into each other. So a lot of this presentation will have pictures of Henrik, because it was one more detailed step from my kind of first ideal approach. Next, please. So we had this, so this is also all, I hope, at one point really shared in the next step when we present to the community. So these were all the existing bioregional roads. Next, please. Focusing into the city area, where we see that we have the national highway on the left. We have the East Coast Road running here. We have all these. We have the Bommayapalayam, Kuilapalayam, Edayanchavadi, Moratandi or Coot Road. Next. And this would be then a kind of thinkable traffic concept where we accept these roads as a given. We can't necessarily change them. They're often on Parambook, or they are so established that they are just reality. We also look at villages and how can we address the impossible situation of heavy traffic of buses and all going through the villages, so trying to create bypasses wherever possible. Here at Irumbai, where I have the temple, which could be a very beautiful spiritual arrival point at the road from Coot Road over Red Earth Riding School, coming here next to the visitor center, or extending down to the road which goes to Oro Orchard, Hope, and then into Edayanchavadi, or coming up from here, Bommayapalayam, Jaima corner, going a little bit up on the already paved road, and then bypassing Kuilapalayam village on the outer line of the master plan area. So, and another, I think next, this is what, so here I listed out the key elements of the mobility proposal as a summary. There are many, many more points. So the first would be really an in-depth study of the existing traffic situation, traffic patterns, and make reasonable assumptions for the near future. Lalit was a great inspiration with his development or with his growth studies of the bioregion, looking at what constitutes non-Oroville traffic, Oroville traffic, the use of the existing road system to Oroville's advantage, upgrade it wherever it's meaningful, have efficient filtering and check systems in place to sort traffic into and through Oroville. Most important, to establish efficient relationships with the local administrators levels from the bottom up, unburden the neighborhood villages from excess traffic directed to Oroville via bypass systems, guide as much as possible all visitors' traffic to Oroville to come from the west, from the national highway, via designated roads bypassing Edayanchavadi, block all traffic trying to use our roads to avoid the toll at Moratandi, which should be fairly easy, implement all the proposed master plan roads wherever they make sense, and with that create a very strong identity unique to Oroville by successfully overlaying this ideation onto the ground. And then what I said, being a process, allow for a gradual shift to e-mobility, shared transport, and encourage cycles, pedestrian movement. So this could provide a roadmap for the next 20 years. Next, please. This could be what I just had enlarged. This could be that image. And for me, it's still recognizable as the galaxy, but somehow become more alive and linked with the existing, not ignoring. If you look at all these images, there's really, I think there is one which shows the ocean. All the other images only show our circle. And that's it. And that is not enough. Next, please. So this was then going more, and I think this would be the next step to not only look at the mongooses who are part of our traffic, but imagine a villager from Matur, how would he cross to reach Edayanchavadi? Look at the different user groups and see the scenarios for each of them, and then find ways of aligning that with our vision. So here we see the different roads. I have, for example, Certitude, which in all our proposals will be a large transport node. It will be a switch off, it will be a filtration system as it is now already. Of course, we need to support our security systems much more because that is, I think we have 38 different entry points into Oroville. So we need to somehow focus on protecting them. So that here, this is one major point. We keep, or maybe I should start with that one. This is for all the traffic, the 1 million visitors coming into Oroville every year. They would arrive from the west and would have an arrival point, maybe together with the line of goodwill, using the existing facilities, and switch, get to know Oroville, and then switch into a different mode of transport and then go into the city. I have the existing road here from Certitude through here. I have the Crown Road, which can have different experiences. It could be, and I go to that next, maybe I do that next. And I have a large access here for the industrial zone from Kotakarai and just south of Alankupam. I can form a loop road with just the extension of existing roads over here. Next. And then focusing on the Crown, the idea was, and I borrowed a little bit from you, these jewels of the Crown, to have wherever the Crown interacts with the different zones, the different roads, different line of forces, different parks, we could have portals, focus points, which could have a very distinct character. So the whole experience, and I think this was very beautifully mentioned by Marie, so that the whole Crown is not one kind of singular experience, but it's really an expression of the diversity of the place, of the people, of the different contours. Yeah, next please. Then it goes here into sorting that a little bit more. So you could have, starting from here, I have the Solar Kitchen roundabout, which next to the one down here is another additional traffic switch. It's another filtration, parking. I have the Crown, the existing Crown here, so I could have a small plaza here where the Vikas radial starts. I could have another one here just south of the private land over here. I have a large potential of a beautiful public plaza at the cultural zone. I could imagine here, using this road here, I can create almost an ideal version of the Crown as I dream it, with pedestrian, with e-mobility. It's not too long. This must be what? This must be 1 kilometer maybe. And I could create already now a very beautiful sequence of places connected. Here I have then next to Savitri Bhavan, I could have one beautiful link which further filters the visitors towards the Matre Mandir. I have one here at where the loop road which I keep for the internal international zone traffic meets the Crown, meets the archaeological heritage. At the same time, I have traffic coming in from Kotakarai and the more informal Bharatipuram arriving into Oroville. Then I have a bypass around Darkali, which I think, and I'm really happy, most of the people here took that as a really kind of natural way of thinking that the traffic could be guided around sensitive areas. Then here again, I meet the industrial zone where partially the Crown is already built. Here I have youth center, vocational training, again a filtration. And one main idea is also that, which was also discussed then in the feedback sessions, in my view, this should be really gradually decreasing traffic. I have the filter down, I have another filter here, I have the outer ring down here, so that by the time I reach the cultural zone and the schools, it's almost non-motorized, fossil fuel motorized, polluting traffic. It's just cycles, slow-moving traffic, community transport if and when available. Next, please. So here we have a little bit of the general feedback provided in the last week. So it was an overall appreciation that the approach takes a realistic look at the overall situation, focuses on mobility, something we all experience in our life. A general agreement that any work on the Crown needs to look at the wider context. Maybe that was also a shortcoming in our Dreamweaving, that we focus only on positive feedback. Maybe that can be reviewed, no, because sometimes critical negative feedback can be extremely helpful. It was very much appreciated to look at the dense situation in and around Oroville in the local neighborhoods of Kullapalayam, Eda and Chavadi. A general appreciation that the existing roads are seen and used as a given reality, an opportunity for effective and neighborly collaboration, and a chance to use while we are exploring forward-looking and sustainable traffic solutions inside Oroville. Next. Discussions of advantages of keeping access via the 30 route or via a new radial. I show that. The appreciation of how the proposal aims to find ways to route motorized traffic around sensitive areas, Darkali, Bliss, even Silence in the industrial zone. A big appreciation of the attempt to deal creatively with the symbolic expression of the outer ring in sensitive areas such as the northeastern transition to the Greenbelt. We have Gaia Forest, Samriddhi Forest, Revelation with its very unique sanctuary. The positive feedback on how this crown is defined by the sequence of portals, jewels in the various segments. It shows that, by the way, that other dream weavers have taken up the works, shows a general agreement with an approach of looking from outside into Oroville. We need to look at development strategies, need to be influenced and based on socio-economic planning policies. And then it was important to look at how to implement this approach to mobility, what are possible stages and phases, I come to that, and an appreciation of how this proposal aims to bridge the different interpretations on how to build Oroville. Next, please. So here we have the master plan right-of-ways with the lines of forces. Next. Then comes that image on where I have been trying to work on, abstract at times, no, especially when you're looking at these areas and it doesn't consider individual buildings and all. Next, please. And then this is where I then took in, or where Hendrik based his work on mine, and I found it very, very fitting. So this was then his interpretation of that road system. Next, please. And then maybe in another 6 years, Oroville could look in parts already like that. And to me, it's a strong image. It's something which is still recognizable as a very unique urban form, which I think is fitting with Oroville's understanding and larger purpose. And it's connected. It really respects the ground realities, trying to make the best out of a difficult situation. It shows the existing building fabric with an overlay of what is to come if we want to have a larger city. So now the focus would be just to see, next please, to zoom into different areas. And so here down, this would be the residential sector 2, 3, 4, 5 with the highlight, then the line of Goodwill. So we have, and there was a discussion really on, do I keep this road, which is there for us since 53 years? Do I keep that, or do I open up another radial over here and have an access into here? I believe while having that road, it offers us a great potential. It's there, it's funded by government money, so I can't easily undo it. And it really allows us to work as an immediate step, start from here, we have to talk to the landowner here. So it allows us to really build the most ideal version of the crown that we are capable of right now. With this is in discussion, this is there. I don't think there is much there is no resistance. I think everybody is really waiting to start with something like that. At the same time, we can use that entrance here, and this needs to be seen what that becomes, and work on this segment of the outer ring, which we did already, which is part of your planning. I think you presented it to the governing board. So this would be also really great as an interface between Oroville, Eda and Chavadi, as an active laboratory of how bioregional planning collaboration can work. One needs to see if there is maybe, if we use that for parts of the visitors who come, who are not coming from the west, do they park over here? We have these structures are potential parking structures. Parking structures will become a building typology which we have to look, and it's nothing to be afraid of. They can be beautiful green. They could be ideally done in such a way that 10, 20 years down the line, they can be converted into public spaces, work hubs and all. But we need to be aware that a large part of these areas need to go at that time. So maybe visitors go over here, stop, and then I have a shuttle from the visitor center or the entrance portal of the line of goodwill. Needs to be seen. So again, I don't think we can have one DDP. It must be a sequence of many DDPs dealing with all of that. I found right now, for me personally, I would love to see that road being upgraded, talking with people over here, accepting them as a reality, using that, and with that have the chance to really work on that. Next, please. So I've listed this. We can also, I'm happy that we have a bit more time tomorrow to discuss about that. Just what are the elements, what types of traffic could I imagine? Next, please. Then going on the other side, so here, residential sector 2 and 1, similar, I support with a part of the master plan road. In my first layout, it went until here, until the Sukhavati is here, Sukhavati Canyon. And then Henrik worked further on it, creating an internal road where you have, ideally you park your car here, but if you have a priority access because you are either aged or you need the car for whatever, then you have the chance to drive up to your neighborhood. So you can park here or here, using partially the existing road system, respecting the existing build fabric. All of this assumes that the land purchase acquisition is a given, that in the city area we have most of the land, or we have nice understandings with the local landowners on how to co-develop their interests and Oroville interests. Next, please. So here, traffic expected here, for example, would be internal private vehicles parked at centralized locations, which then again could become neighborhood plazas with small, I don't know, thrift shops and laundrettes and small hospitality parts. Strong focus on slow-moving, non-polluting traffic, connection to an Oroville community transport system. You can still see it a little bit. I could imagine the school bus going along that route, and kids who are in this, they use that, they walk here. This is all then perfectly walkable. There's a pickup point here and then goes further to the cultural zone. Next, please. Here we come to the cultural zone. And this again, I would not even, so ideally I don't have any through traffic from here towards the industrial zone over here. Also, industrial zone traffic is largely taken care of by the industrial loop roads from the Kotakarai-Alankupam roads, and I have the road coming in from the northeastern Greenbelt coming in here. It's remaining, but there is hardly any traffic on it. So the traffic would really stop here. If I have larger events, I have the stadium, of course I have to deal with traffic coming in and I need adequate parking. There was the idea of creating, to further free this part from through traffic, to establish a road here along in between the green corridor and the sports area, coming from here and ending up somewhere at Dana, carefully cutting through it, not really disturbing much of the beautiful kind of sanctuary forest what we have over here. So this is one which further would allow people, if they have to come from here, they could go here and then down here. And then furthermore, I could have another, I think Tejaswini will maybe talk about it. There is another bypass behind Kalabhumi to really create an almost pedestrian, very active, alive cultural zone. Yeah, next please. Next. Here is that industrial zone loop. So you have here is present day Vindara, Kotakarai. And Kotakarai is one, I think it's fairly easy to have bypass solutions for Edayan Chavadi, Irumbai, Kuilapalayam. Kotakarai is a bit difficult. It goes straight through it. The most part of Kotakarai is further to the east, but still it's cutting through the village. So we have one entry here at Mango Garden, the Mangalam radial. We could have another one which is also, I think, underway with the TDC. It stops presently Wait. Yeah, it stops here somewhere. This is what now? 25, okay. So anyway, so this we can also, I'm really happy to look at that tomorrow and see if this kind of seems realistically. And it has to be said, all these roads cut somewhere across over the comfort zone of people who live there. And you need to deal sensitively with that, talk with the people, explain why, have the community involved. And I think if you do that, then there is a large acceptance for change in individual and in community life. Yeah, here there is another one. So you would come here from, this is the Integral Learning Center and Naturellement Café. You cut over here, you go to Orosajan, CSR campus coming down. This stretch is existing here. Here's the youth center. So this could be really a beautiful loop of the, and I heard that in some conversations, this could be really the next part. Next to the residential zone, we could at the same time develop the crown here in the industrial zone. Next, please. Yeah, next. And then it comes to the international zone starting from Darkali. So again, you would, and I didn't mention this, so the existing road comes here, and this would be for me only Oroville internal traffic, yeah, which is routed around, I think Marie had it also, which is routed around the lake, pushed further from where it is to go towards the admin area, and then further to the existing road on the north of Sincerity and Darkali back to the international zone. So I have the bypass road around Darkali. We discussed if it's closer to here or if it's closer to here. Again, with the Kali temple potentially becoming a really beautiful kind of anchor point. Yeah, the traffic here. This again, no, it could be a really beautiful sequence of plazas on the crown, which is in this concept so far relatively open for all types of traffic. Next, please. Next, so this is then the focus on the crown, and next, please. And these are just step-by-step implementations of what could be possible right now. So find ways to unite the majority of the community behind a shared vision, a concerted effort on land protection, land acquisition in collaboration with the Oroville Foundation, your office, the state and central government, and the Oroville International Centers to help with fundraising. Establish effective bioregional communication channels, establish effective access control points, toll gates from the national highway, strengthen the Oroville security system, decide on the upgrade of the Certitude Solar Kitchen Road as provisional 10 years plus, second transport switch at the Solar Kitchen roundabout, which many fellow architects have been kind of working with. Start planning on the segments of the crown that we have. What I said, either the existing one, the one on Michael Bonke's land, or the stretch from clockwise from the Solar Kitchen. Improve with small interventions, like again, Tanya and all said, the existing paved stretch of the crown, and start with community-wide consultation processes to actively involve the RA. That's it. So I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. Thanks.
Thank you, Fabian.